Friday. I am so happy to see you. Your body needs this stretch. Today I have a super yummy, stretchy, all on the floor yoga class that's going to target opening up our chest, our shoulders. We're going to give our hips and our low back some love. And the only equipment you need is a mat. Friends, go ahead and grab your mat and turn on your music if you like to play music in your yoga classes. Remember, you can play any kind of music in a yoga class. It doesn't have to be classical. It doesn't have to be meditative. It can be whatever you want to listen to. This is your time to give back to your body for all of the work it does for you, so you might as well enjoy it. All right, friends, we are going to get started today in a child's pose. So go ahead and bring your big toes to touch, walk your knees out wide, and sit your hips back onto your heels. Bring your forehead and maybe the tip of your nose down to the mat. And just take a few moments here to begin to settle into your body, to begin to settle onto your mat, leaving whatever's come of the day so far off of the mat. And do your best to let whatever is going to come stay out of your mind and off the mat as well. And as you get a little comfier here, I want you to think about someone in your life that you're grateful for. Someone who makes you feel special, someone who helps you out, or maybe someone who does none of those things, but someone that you're just very appreciative of in your life. And maybe dedicate your practice to that person today. Now on your next inhale, go ahead and press into your fingertips, lift your elbows away from the mat. And as you exhale, walk your hands all the way over to your left. So left ribs come to meet the left inner thigh. If you can bring your right hand to sit on top of your left, go ahead and bring your right hand on top of your left. Make sure to maintain a connection between that right hip and the right heel if you can. And then just begin to press your right palm against your left palm, like you're pressing your left palm forward with your right. And notice that deep stretch just underneath your right underarm, down into the lat and down into the side body. On your next inhale, go ahead and walk your hands back through center. And as you exhale, walk both hands all the way over to the right, maybe bringing the right ribs to rest against the right inner thigh. Guide both armpits down towards the mat. Feel that nice opening in the upper back. And then again, if you can press the left palm onto the right, as if you're pressing the right palm away, go ahead and do that, just noticing that deep stretch down into the left side body. And you can always do this with your left palm on the mat if it doesn't quite reach your right palm. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and walk your hands back through center. Take an exhale breath, sit your hips back just a little bit more. And then on an inhale, go ahead and come up to a tabletop. And in that tabletop, walk your palms out about a palm's distance from where they were. And we're going to begin to turn some hip circles. So dropping your right hip towards your right heel, then left hip towards left heel, and then bringing both hips forward towards your toes. And just slowly moving in a way that feels good to you here. And if you find any spots that feel kind of stuck, you can just hang out there. And we'll turn one more circle in this direction. And then the next time you come through center, pause, and then we'll turn circles in the opposite direction. So stretching out the upper body as you draw the hips back towards the heels. And just bringing some mobility into the hips and the low back. Let's take one more turn. come back to neutral, and I'm actually gonna turn this way because Fiona is, as usual, right where I need to be. No problem, I'll just shift directions. And we're gonna slowly come all the way down to our belly. Untuck your toes. Bring your forearms to rest on the mat. And on an inhale, come up into Sphinx pose. So lengthening the waist up and out of the hips. Gaze is forward. And then just press your palms and your forearms into the mat, opening up your chest here. Think about dropping your shoulders away from your ears. Pressing your pubic bone into the mat. And then slowly lower. You can bring your arms down by your side, maybe bring your forehead to the mat. And then go ahead and bring your arms out like a T. And we're gonna come into some iron crosses, and we're just gonna flow here. So tent up onto your left fingertips, bend your left knee, and bring your left toes over towards the right side of the mat. Very carefully come back onto your belly, tent up onto the right toe, right fingers, bend the right knee, and bring the right toes over to the left. So getting a nice deep opening in the front of the shoulder here, and continuing to work on that hip mobility. And we're just gonna flow here in a slow pattern that feels good in your body. You don't have to keep up with my pace. I don't have to keep up with your pace. Remember, this is entirely for you to move and to breathe. And you can close your eyes if you'd like. And then as you continue to flow here for just a couple more moments, I'd like you to think about something in the last day or two that brought a smile to your face. And hopefully just thinking about it brings a smile back to your face here. And then take one more each side. So I've heard this called iron cross, and I've also heard it called scorpion. I've heard it called hugging the earth. I used to teach a group of 7th grade girls, and one of them used to call this pose hugging the earth, and I think that's my favorite name for it. And then the next time you come back through center, just go ahead and bring your palms underneath your shoulders and press yourself up to a tabletop pose. And we're going to work on some thoracic spine rotation here. So on an inhale breath, go ahead and bring your right fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, thread the right arm underneath the left, bringing the right ear just to touch the mat. And we're going to flow this 3 more times. So inhale, reaching those fingertips up towards the ceiling, and exhale, thread underneath. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, slowly open, and exhale, thread, and just temporarily rest. Inhale, open. And then this time we're going to hang out down here in the threaded needle position. So bringing that right arm underneath the left. And if it feels good to you, you can tuck your left palm at your right hip crease. Think about gently guiding that left shoulder down away from the ear and peeling it towards the right. And just breathing. And now if it doesn't feel good to have the half bind, you can just walk the hand out straight and press the underarm down towards the mat. And then when you're ready, go ahead and press back up with that left hand. Re-extend the right fingertips. And then bring the hand back underneath the shoulder. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Go ahead and bring those left fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, thread the left arm underneath the right. Inhale, open it up. And exhale, thread. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Reach the fingertips, heart up towards the ceiling. And then this time on our exhale, we're going to hang out, bringing the outer left shoulder, the left ear to the mat. And again, you can bind by bringing the right hand behind the back and hooking the fingertips at the hip crease. Thinking about pulling the right side body over towards the left. Chest moving in the direction of the ceiling. And again, if the bind doesn't feel right to you, just go ahead and extend the right arm directly out in front of the right shoulder and press the armpit down to the mat. And then go ahead and bring that right palm underneath the right shoulder, give a press into it, and take an inhale breath to extend the fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then go ahead and come back into your tabletop pose. And we're going to extend the right leg straight back out of the right hip, pressing through the heel, toes flex down towards the mat. And then on an exhale breath, just bring the knee into the nose. Inhale, extend, firing up the back of the right leg. And exhale, knee into nose, staying steady, keeping your shoulders and hips squared to the mat, not opening side to side. Do that one more time. And then exhale, knee to nose. And then we're going to step the right foot up next to the right fingertips. And go ahead and come up into a crescent lunge. So stacking your head over your shoulders, shoulders over your hips. A slight tuck in the tailbone and a squeeze in the glutes to really open up into that left hip flexor. And then if you have the space in your body, interlace your hands behind your back. So a little trick here, if your hands can't quite meet, is to use a small towel, like a bath towel or a little gym towel, to hold in between your hands so that you still get that nice deep opening in the front of your shoulders. So imagine there's a string lifting your chest up towards the ceiling. Pull your thumbs, your palms, your knuckles down towards the mat. And then unbind, and go ahead and bring the fingertips back up overhead. And now we're going to pivot into a kneeling warrior 2. So you can bring your hands down to the mat to kind of help you here. My mat's really sticky. And so we have a 90-degree bend in the right knee, a slight hug under in the tailbone to keep a neutral spine, and then extend your fingertips out just like you would in a warrior 2. Give a little press into the pinky edge of that right foot and notice this opening that you feel in the outer right hip. Take an inhale and look out over the fingertips, and as you exhale, give yourself a little hug with your right arm underneath your left. Inhale, open up. And exhale, give yourself a hug, right arm under left. Inhale, open up. And this time you can come into a full eagle bind, right arm under left, binding at the elbows and the wrists. Or if this isn't accessible in your body, you're going to continue to give yourself a hug, lifting the elbows in line with the shoulders and just feeling that nice opening in the upper back, wherever you're at. Continue lifting your waist up and out of your hips. And then unbind, re-extend the arms. And then bring the fingertips down to frame the right foot. And then bring the right foot back to meet the left. And just kind of take some sways side to side with your hips. Bring your palms back underneath your shoulders in that neutral tabletop pose. And on an inhale, extend your left leg straight back out of that left hip. Toes flexed down, gluteus squeezed. And on an exhale, bring your left knee into your nose. Inhale, press through the heel, extend the leg. And exhale, knee to nose, practicing anti-rotation here, not opening up to one side or the other. One more time. Inhale. And then this time as we exhale and bring the knee into the nose, we're going to just step the left foot up towards the left hand and come up into Anjaneyasana, modified crescent lunge. So shoulders down away from the ears. The crown of the head is lifting towards the ceiling. The waist is lifting up and out of the hips, giving that right glute a squeeze to feel that nice opening in the front of the right hip. And then imagine that you're pulling your left heel back towards your right knee. On an exhale, interlace the hands behind the back or use a towel to help your hands meet. Shoulder blades draw down, imaginary string lifts your chest up. And this should deepen the stretch you feel in the front of the right hip. Obviously opening up the chest. Just take a nice, slow, steady breath. Multiple breaths. And then release, bring the fingertips back up overhead. Pivot onto the right knee and come into that modified warrior two here with the left leg. So a 90-degree bend in the left knee, pressing through the pinky edge of that left foot to keep the knee from caving in. Pressing down through this left leg, but lifting up and out of the hips. And then extend the arms out in that warrior two pose. Inhale. And exhale, left arm underneath the right. Give yourself a little hug. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, arms extend. Exhale, left arm underneath the right for that little hug. Inhale, arms extend. And this time, coming into full eagle bind, crossing the elbows, pressing the wrists towards one another, lifting the elbows in line with the shoulders. Feeling that awesome opening in the low back. And if this isn't accessible for you, you're simply going to hold this stretch, the hug, and lift your elbows in line with the shoulders. It's an awesome opening for the back, the upper back. And this is called eagle pose. And then go ahead, unbind, re-extend, and then go ahead and bring the palms down to the mat. And just bring the right or the left knee back to meet the right. You can kind of wiggle from side to side. And then we're going to come up into a half kneeling camel. So I like to bring about 2 fist distance between my knees. Go ahead and stack your head over your shoulders, over your hips, open up the shoulders. On an inhale, sweep the right hand up towards the ceiling. Bring your left fingertips or your left hand to your heel and press your hips forward as you lift your chest up towards the ceiling. Carefully use your core to come back upright, and we're going to switch it out. Left fingertips reach towards the ceiling, right fingertips or right hand come to the right heel. Pressing the fronts of the hips forward and imagining that you're stretching up and over an imaginary barrel, not dumping down into the lumbar spine. Exhale, go ahead and come back up. And then we're going to come into a puppy dog stretch to counteract that back bending. So hips stay over the knees, walk your palms forward. Again, armpits towards the mat, so opening up the upper back. Really nice release for the low back here. And as you hang out for a few breaths in this puppy dog pose, just think about a place that makes you happy. A place you've been once or a place you go regularly. A place where you feel at ease and you feel comfortable. And then go ahead and begin to walk your palms back underneath your shoulders. And we're going to come into full camel. So bring your fists, again, 2 fists between your knees. Come upright, stacking your joints. And we're going to tuck our palms into our back pockets. Most of us don't have back pockets in our workout clothes, so your imaginary back pockets. Shoulders down away from the ears, crown of the head lengthening towards the ceiling, and the elbows hugging in towards one another. Begin to lift your chest up towards the ceiling, pressing the fronts of the hips forward. And if it's accessible to you, you're going to bring left hand to the left heel, right hand to the right heel, continuing to hug those elbows in towards one another. The eyes of the elbows are out towards either side of the mat. And then imagine that string lifting your chest up towards the ceiling. And then just as we came out of it, bring your right hand back to your back pockets, left hand back to the back pockets, chest lifts, and then one more time we're going to come into that puppy dog pose. And maybe when you come into that puppy dog pose, think about being in that place that makes you happy. That comfortable place, that reassuring place. And then carefully walk your fingertips back towards your knees. And we're going to shift onto our left or right hip, whatever feels best. And then carefully come down onto your back. And with an exhale breath, hug your knees into your chest. And just begin to turn some circles towards the right. This is called stirring the pot. And it feels really good on the low back. And then the next time you come through center, switch the direction, turning the circles to the left. And I want you to begin to think about 1 or 2 things that you love about yourself. Now is not the time to be modest. Now is the time to be honest. What is it that you love about yourself? And as we hug our knees into our chest, wrapping forearms around the shins and bringing opposite palm to opposite elbow, I want you to continue to think about the things that you love about yourself as you surrender into Shavasana. So arms along by your side, palms face up to open up your chest, and then extend your legs long towards the wide edges of the mat. I want you to allow yourself just to be here, to take up space and to be heavy. Breathing in a natural rhythm of breath. And if you have your music playing, listening to the music, while you think about what it is that you love about yourself. Friends, if you have 5 or 10 minutes to stay in Shavasana, spend 5 or 10 minutes here, truly giving back to yourself. I look forward to practicing yoga or working out with you again soon. And Shavasana is where we're going to part ways today.